Here we are, everyone. Perfect timing, as always. As always, we're just getting ready to start, and we had to wait for a second to fix some other things, and here you come. So this is day 1311 from January 6th. This is the Northern Neck Patriots, and we are holding our Friday night vigils. It is August 9th, 2024, and as always, we'll start with a prayer and a pledge of allegiance. Heavenly Father, as always, watch over the children and give these men who are continuing to get these outlandish sentences the courage and the hope to persevere, because they will get through this. And on the other side, these will be some of the strongest supporters of freedom in this nation. I know it in Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I had some wonderful eggplant parmesan for dinner tonight. Everybody just got to do a shout out, so that was really good.
So
Thank
did
you.
I.
It's all gone though, that's the problem.
That was on time. That was perfect. Good job with it,
I was gonna
too.
wear my fight shirt.
Oh.
too. I just got mine yesterday.
Oh, I
But
like the put
But I
it
got my
hat. I
cat one.
love
I
it.
said, okay, I'm wearing my cat one today.
I like it.
Next week I'm not gonna wear
You
my
can,
fight
you
one.
can show it off if you want to.
Okay.
You
That's
can-
the point. Well,
There.
to the
No, that's
camera.
Next week, I'm gonna wear my
From the
bling,
neck down.
my bling birthday
Next
shirt.
week.
Because next week's my birthday.
All right.
So,
All right, well, folks, we heard that there's maybe some issues with the correspondence inside. I'm not sure if people are able to get out or not tonight, so we'll see.
phone calls.
Phone calls, right. Not sure if the phone calls are going to work, but we'll give it a whirl anyway. And I want to start out with the updates from NPR, National Public Radio, the J6 updates that they do every Friday at about 5:30. They give you all of the arrests of the previous week and any updates and so on. So I'm going to go to that, and we'll start with that. So there were, as of now, there are 1,451 people who have been arrested for charges with January 6th, 1,451. And I think we know that there's expected to be probably 2,000 plus at some point. And we'll read a little bit about these individuals and what their offenses were that allowed them or granted them the special privilege of being arrested for January 6th. But
Here comes the rain.
so there were 9 arrests last week. 9. Week before were 8, if you recall. I'll just start out. Daniel Collins, 43 years old, from Greentown, Pennsylvania. Arrested on August 6th in Greentown. The usual 4 charges of, well, he's got assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers, obstruction of law enforcement during civil disorder, entering, remaining, disorderly, disruptive conduct, engaging in physical violence. I don't know that I wrote out his charging documents. I'm not sure exactly what they're going after him for. Next one, Samuel Guizio from Kentucky. He was charged by information on August 6, 2024. I used to know what that meant, charged by information. So that doesn't mean he was arrested necessarily. We have to look at that. Danielle Lacey, 46 years old, from Malibu, California, was arrested on July 29th in Los Angeles. Usual 4 simple charges, or even just 3 for a case. Kennedy Lindsay, 29 years old, from North Hollywood, California. I believe the 2 of them were together. She was arrested in Los Angeles on July 28th, so I think so. Gregory Charles Peck Jr. Gregory Peck, I had to look him up and see all about him, and I think I got some stuff on him, but 51 years old, from Connolly Springs, North Carolina. Civil disorder, assaulting, resisting, or impeding, and so on. arrested on August 7th in Valdez, North Carolina. Eric Lee Peterson, 54 years old, from Kansas City, Missouri, was arrested on August 6th in Kansas City. David Proct, 54 years old, Phoenix, Arizona, arrested August 6, 2024. Knowingly entering or remaining, knowingly with intent to impede or disrupt the orderly conduct of government business or official functions, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building or grounds, and parading, demonstrating, or picketing. Along with him was Kira Proct, 53 years old, from Phoenix, Arizona, also arrested on August 6th in Surprise, Arizona. How about that? They're from Phoenix, but they were arrested in Surprise. Do you think that might have been like, I don't know.
Intentional.
Yeah, who knows? And then finally, Andrew Cade Starling, 27 years old. I can't address, didn't print, so I don't know where he's from, but he was arrested on August 8th.
Wow.
So I did dig into a couple of these, and again, you can go on there and just click on the charging documents, or it's the source. It's called the source, and it's a clickable link, and it will take you to an arrest warrant or the actual case documents of the suit. So Samuel Guzio, he did knowingly enter and remain in restricted buildings and grounds. Here is his counts. Count 1 is entering and remaining. Count 2 was knowingly impede or disrupt. Count 3, knowingly engage in disorderly or disruptive conduct within the United States Capitol, and that's it. So his charging documents were very interesting. It's the actual physical 3-page charging document, not a lot of detail behind it. Like I've often read the statement of facts that wasn't there. I don't know if the NPR reporter is getting a little lazy, because she is also sometimes a little late getting this thing published every Friday, but there was not a lot of information, at least in there. Of course, you could go into the actual court documents themselves. You could go to United States District Court, and you can pull up documents on any case that's there, so you can probably find more. But I found it interesting that David Proct and his wife, I assume, David and Kira, again, just a 1-page document. It's an arrest warrant. It lists the charges, 18 U.S.C. 1752. So they always talk about these charges, 1752 A1, A2, 5104 E2. Those are the main charges that we keep hearing about. I wanted to talk about Andrew Starling. This is the last one. So I didn't know where he was from, but I think it might be in here. On January 8th, 2021 and January 9th, 2021, the FBI received 2 separate tips from 2 separate tipsters that Andrew Cade Starling was present and involved in the attack on the United States Capitol building on January 6, 2021. The FBI conducted investigations into both of these tips, enabling them to identify Starling through information obtained from open source media and government databases. Starling is a 27-year-old white male with blue eyes, red-brown hair, approximately 5'10", and is shown in the image below from one of his social media accounts. The tip on January 8th about Starling's involvement in the attack on the U.S. Capitol building came from an individual who engaged in social media messages with Starling about the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol and appeared to be reliable. The FBI interviewed the tipster, and the tipster identified Starling from the screenshot taken from a third-party open-source social media posting from inside the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, shown below. Let's pause for a minute. A tip on January 8th, 2021, 2 days after the event. So they're already after, they're grabbing this guy and they're putting him aside and they're saying, okay, this is somebody of interest, but they wait until, they wait until this week, August 8th, yesterday, to arrest him. And we talked about that before, about these guys walking around with a tremendous weight on their shoulders, knowing that there are people looking at them and are looking, after them, and it could be picked up any day. Anyway, just look at that mug. Does that guy look like a terrorist? I don't think so. That's my opinion.
Looks like a typical 27-year-old.
27-year-old is what he looks like.
He plays RPG games all
Yeah.
the time.
The FBI searched data sets housing cell tower records for devices. So here we go, cell tower information, and they get his phone number, and they determined that he was there. They show where he used it and so on. And then talking about some Twitter posts and so on that he did. Here's one that he wrote: "I was there. A few windows and doors were broken. That was as violent as it got. No bullets fired except from the police. No bullets from our side." And then there's a post, a tweet. "Violent domestic terrorists screamed, 'You serve us,' in the Capitol building and burned down nothing and hurt no one. I was there. A few windows were broken and doors were broken. That was as violent as it got. No bullets fired." How about that? So, violent domestic terrorists screamed, "You serve us," in the Capitol building and burned nothing and hurt no one. Well, I guess that's all they need. Subsequent investigation revealed numerous pictures and videos of him participating in the riot and corroborated the identification of him. On January 6th, his long reddish hair was partly pulled back into a ponytail or a bun, and he wore a red, white, and blue long-sleeve hooded shirt. Starling's physical appearance and dress was unique and identifiable from others in the crowd. While it would not be impossible, bless you, for someone else in the crowd to have had the same matching description and clothing, during my review of these videos and images, I did not observe anyone else matching the same or similar physical description. So, anyway. Well, I don't recall if these guys, I don't know what's happening, if they're being held or if they're being arrested and released, charged and released. It would be interesting to find out, and maybe we need to do a little more research into some of these names that I've been putting out here every Friday night. But that's what I got.
Oh, mine's very short. I do the updates about the sentencings. Well, we had sad news today about David Dempsey. His daughter was there last night because they have at Freedom Corner to see the sentencing today, which was, he was sentenced to 20 years. David Dempsey was sentenced to 20 years.
That's one of the longest, right?
Yeah.
22 was
And so that's really sad. Brian Jackson, he was sentenced on August 6th for 36 months, but with his time served already, he'll be getting out probably by the end of this year. And Brian Jackson is now, he was sentenced on August 6th. Today's August 9th, and he's already moved. He's in Philadelphia right now. Francis Azari is now in Petersburg, Virginia, and Curtis Tate is in Fort Dix, New Jersey. The upcoming sentencings for August is Zachary Alam, August 22nd, 1:30 p.m. Victor Dennison, August 27th. It's a trial at 9:30. And then we go into September's sentencings, which I guess we have a while to talk about that. But Samsel and James Grant, they're on the same day, September 19th at 10 o'clock.
Well, I think there are 4 other defendants that are being charged at the same time in that trial and be sentenced together. So, because I was at James's trial and I saw that, and Samsel, of course. So it was very interesting, as I recall, and each one of them had their own attorneys. So there was a big pile of people in there for that. And a lot of the discussion was with the judge was around how are we going to handle, all these different attorneys from that side. The government had 2 or 3 at least, maybe 3 or 4. But the defense attorneys basically agreed that anytime one of them spoke, the others all would be in agreement unless somebody spoke up. was kind of interesting to see how that went through. But not many of them did much of anything, as I recall, to protest a lot of what was going on. So not sure that the guys got much out of it. Anyway, that's one I think we're gonna try to get to. When is that again? September?
September 19th, and
Sep-
maybe if James calls in tonight,
September 19th, yeah.
we can ask him.
On a slightly different topic, news media and the way they report things. A gentleman with the last name of Obest was convicted of charges associated with January 6th activities. And his story reads much like most any other. I mean, he was superhuman, picked up bicycle racks, pulled fences out of the ground, and wrestled with cops over the American flag and all kinds of evil, heinous things. But the point that I'm trying to bring up is that according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the headline for this story is, Maryland man convicted of assaulting law enforcement and other charges for actions during the January 6th Capitol breach. That sounds fairly innocuous, right? I mean, you know, guy, whatever. But ABC News, specifically WJZ News, reports it as with the following headline: Maryland man found guilty for role in January 6, 2001 U.S. Capitol insurrection. You'll note that our government, in their entire report, did not use the word insurrection once. But the news media uses it all the time. People need to think about these things. It's pretty important that folks understand the subtleties behind and how mind manipulation works. You repeat a lie that's not even detectable as part of a whole comment enough times and people go, oh yeah, that was that insurrection thing. The next thing you know, it's an insurrection. Who's going to hire an insurrectionist when he gets out of prison? This is ridiculous. And all too many people don't actually see these things. So I thought I'd mention this.
I think that's an excellent point, and that's kind of where I was going earlier with these charging documents. Usually have the statement of facts, which goes into a literally one-page description of the horror of the events of that day, right? So, I mean, I can read it again just to fill in, but it's like what you said. If you repeat it over and over again, if every one of these 1,450 people who are charged have this document that basically says that it was an insurrection, then yeah, there's a big old stamp on their forehead.
Yeah, and let's not forget that most of these guys don't actually get a real trial. They get bench trials, they get stipulated trials. So it's the judges whose minds are being manipulated by the repetition of the statement of facts. And the judge trial takes resources and time. And we've seen verbiage come from a judge that says, we don't want to spend too much time, we got too many cases. And so how does that end up playing out? I'll let your imagination work with you. But it's not a pretty thing.
And part of this whole thing is it's built on a premise which is essentially a lie to begin with. But because here, the second paragraph of the statement of facts, this is where it kind of the boilerplate comes in. The U.S. Capitol is secured 24 hours a day by U.S. Capitol Police. Restrictions around the U.S. Capitol include permanent and temporary security barriers and posts manned by U.S. Capitol Police. Only authorized people with appropriate identification were allowed access inside the U.S. Capitol, period. On January 6, 2021, the exterior plaza of the U.S. Capitol was also closed to members of the public. Now, they're laying out these facts that they expect everybody that they're charging knew, right? So the Capitol is usually open. It is the people's house. It is usually open, whether it's secured 24 hours a day by Capitol Police or not. That's word salad. It's secured, it's monitored, it's manned, you know. It doesn't mean it's closed 24 hours a day. That's what they're implying with that statement. Permanent and temporary security bearers and so on around the Capitol. Only authorized people with appropriate ID were allowed in the U.S. Capitol, period. That sentence doesn't even make sense if it stands. You read that paragraph, that sentence is just hanging out there, and it's just, again, to confuse and obfuscate the reader. On January 6th, the exterior plaza of the U.S. Capitol was also closed to members of the public. So everybody who knows this and watched the videos, that is where there was snow fence that had signs on it, and you remember the police officer, I think it was a police officer, but someone in a uniform of some sort grabbed that fence and drug it, the whole thing, ripped it right down. That had all the signs on it, the temporary signs on it, and ripped that away, and it was gone. So nobody saw signs. Most people didn't see signs. Anyway, I won't go on to it, but it's just, again, it's just this paragraph, 3 or 4 paragraphs of, you know, the what ifs and how democracy was basically interrupted by these rioters, and that's the premise they're building these cases on.
It's not a lot of. The assassination attempt. Like it's a news cycle that's gotten a little bit longer than the 5 seconds it used to be. Anyway, so apparently somebody with a cell phone was tracking something, and at the same point in time that the shot that pierced Trump's ear was cracking through the air, there was a flash in a window. Looked like a muzzle flash. It's like, really? Now what's going on?
What window?
One of the windows in the same building. The guy was up top, and there's a flash that comes out of one of the windows. Don't know what it is, may be irrelevant. You know how these things go. 80% of everything we see on the internet is probably garbage. But just thought I'd mention that.
Well, the 48-hour rule is a good one, I think, for anything you see on the internet, meaning social media, whatever. I've seen that passed around, and yeah, I explained it to someone else. You know, let's go by. If somebody hasn't busted it down by then, it's probably true. So I saw something also. It was a sound analysis of each of the bullet shots, and there were the 5 that came from the alleged shooter on the tin roof. That had an unmistakable sound of being an outdoor rifle being fired, and then the 3 shots, I believe, that were supposedly 60 feet behind, is what I heard. So maybe same building or
Same. Well,
but
it
it's
was the same building that the flashes were.
but came from an inside position. Yes, and there was a different acoustical signature for those as well. So that's flying around.
It's amazing. You know, the civilian population can do a pretty good investigation, don't you think? I think the FBI's scared of us. They're not saying anything. You know? It's frustrating.
No,
Okay,
Nothing.
I heard a beep.
I heard it beep too. I think it's that phone. That's what it was. So if it's that one, it doesn't matter because I don't pay attention to that one.
Somebody might be contacting us because we're important.
Yeah. If you-
It wasn't blue, but I think a message came in on it. That's why I was looking at it. That's what that was, but even from here, I can't read it. It's so tiny.
Oh yeah, it's too small. Let everybody on there, I guess.
I am.
Nice. Hey, everybody. So cool. So cool. Thanks for joining. It'd be great if we had any news that you all wanted to report. We could also get that out. I'd love to do that. It's nice to see the same folks in here
every week. I appreciate that so much, and I hope everybody is sharing this really wide. All right. Looks like our transmission's
Guess I
decent.
can do that, monitor incoming messages.
Carol, why don't you show your shirt?
Yeah, show your shirt.
Show your
It's a
shirt.
green shirt.
That's the shirt that-
I'll show you mine. Yeah, I have a
Yeah,
cat.
I'll go stand by Carol.
I got a new cat.
You got to put a hat.
I
There
was
you
gonna
go.
wear, I got mine yesterday too. Looks just.
Fight, fight,
Oh,
fight.
there we
Nice.
go. I think mine's exactly the same thing.
Really?
Oh, different color.
Yeah.
Fight, fight, fight. I gotta look it up.
Awesome.
Got an Amazon.
Ditto.
Have you guys seen the fight, 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 road sign? You know, the banners alongside the road
Oh,
yet?
no,
There's one up past Montrose, I believe, on the other side, maybe one on this side too.
There's one by the auto parts store that's between Reedville and Eastville.
I ordered mine flags, but I still haven't got them yet. They're on back order for some reason.
What kind of flags?
The fight, fight, fight.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got like 4 of them coming in.
Nice.
I like that.
Supposedly,
That's such a,
They keep putting it on back order.
that's such a better message.
I
you
bet
know,
it probably
to
is.
repeat
They're
something.
repeating it. Oh, yeah.
We gotta figure out what we wanna
Oh, yeah,
repeat.
You got the
Right.
lighter background. Mine's a silhouette. Still nice. Still same thing. Yeah. No. Well, they don't like, look how high this neck is on his back.
It's 7:30
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the phone hasn't rung.
We'll see what happens. I want to give a shout out to J6er Chris Alberts. Chris, I got to meet your fiance at Freedom Corner last weekend, and she's actually on the little short clip that I did that we live streamed, and a great speaker, and very passionate, and from my understanding, one of the first people to get involved with Mickey and Nicole and the rest of them up there. So here on the Give, Send, Go page for Chris Alberts. Dear brothers and sisters, I'm organizing this fundraiser to support Chris Alberts. Chris went to the Capitol on January 6th to fight for this country and the oath he took to protect it. He did not enter the Capitol, break anything, or hurt anyone. Simply protested and exercised his constitutional rights. He is an Army veteran, an uncle, a son, a brother, and the love of my life. Chris served in Iraq with honorable distinction. Like most of our brothers and sisters that have served, he is a selfless man, willing to help anyone regardless of color or creed. He was beaten so badly that day, I pray I never have to see the same fear and pain in his eyes again. He has received threats, hate mail, been told he is a danger to society, wearing an ankle bracelet every day, and being treated like the enemy in his own country. I know we all are all tired and our faith has been tried like never before, but he needs our help. We have many people on these huge platforms that talk a good game with complete disregard for our political prisoners. They have no problem deflecting just like the enemies we are up against. So we are asking our fellow Americans for all the help we can get. Monetary donations, prayer, networking, or even just encouraging messages to keep his head up through this mental and emotional battle. We know the evil that sits in DC. He is prepared for a long road, but cannot fight this battle alone. We can overcome this battle together, but we simply cannot turn our backs on these heroes when they need us the most. Thank you, and God bless. So Give, Send, Go is a great place to go and learn about people again. You know, just go on there and, you know, there are people that are posting and sending messages, and it's a great way to also share this thing. So I was struck by this posting that his fiance put in. It was dated January 6th of this year, 2024, actually January 7th, but a letter to my congressman on January 6th. So these guys are from Maryland. Prayers for a response from our congressman. Dear Congressman Harris, I've recently received a lot of communication from your office encouraging your constituents to reach out to you on how you can help the people in your community. I know the topic you will read about below is a very controversial one. I just hope you will observe the facts with an open mind and reach out if you have any questions. Today I sit here alone in my home in Harford County on the 6th of January 2024. I reminisce of the times that my home was filled with love, joy, and laughter, pursuing the American dream with my fiance, Christopher Alberts. We had hopes of getting married, starting a family, and purchasing a home here to build our lives together. The simple things you would expect to be a basic human right. Today, those dreams seem all too far away, and I'm hoping you can help change the trajectory of our lives from here. 3 years ago today, Chris decided to attend the January 6th event in DC, and remembering that day has left me feeling very conflicted. From one perspective, I feel proud of the man he is, who would take a stand against a tyrannical government and be the voice of the people. On the other, every day I wish this was all just a bad dream someone would soon wake me up from. I sat in my living room on this day 3 years ago, and I remember the feeling as I saw the news begin coming in of what was taking place. I was terrified. I knew this was not what our men and women went there for. I kept thinking, this can't be happening. A few hours from then, I would see the horrific video of Chris being tackled to the ground after being struck in the head by the police that day. I sat for hours replaying all the different scenarios of what went wrong in my head. I didn't know if I would ever see him again. I sat here for over 24 hours without a phone call. I called everywhere I could, hoping for some sort of communication, but to no avail. Every precinct said they had no record of him. To this day, the officer that struck Chris still has not been identified. My fiance is an Army National Guard veteran who served honorably with distinction. He was enlisted from 2005 to 2011. He was deployed to Iraq under Operation Iraqi Freedom from 2007 and 2008, and even worked Obama's inauguration. He received many accolades for his service to our country, such as the Global War on Terror Medal, the Iraqi Freedom Medal, the Army Achievement Medal, and countless others. He is an Army-trained medic and a true American hero. Chris went to the Capitol that day to stand in solidarity with Americans from all walks of life. The events of that day completely contradict the purpose of them being there. Election integrity has been a bipartisan issue for years, and the goal was simply to encourage our representatives to investigate before certifying the election of 2020. What transpired was the complete opposite and has been used to push a narrative ever since. Chris never went inside the building. He never hurt anyone. He never destroyed any property. In fact, he administered medical aid and helped police officers that day with crowd control as civilians transported Benjamin Phillips, one of the deaths from that day. The narrative that was created due to lack of proper security and entrapment that day has given birth to political persecution in America. This sets a dangerous precedent for all Americans in the future. We are a nation built on law and God-given rights that our forefathers and ancestors fought and died for. My grandmother immigrated from Ireland to come here to escape this kind of rule. She wanted to provide a better life for her children and generations to come. We cannot simply stand by as the last beacon of light for the world is destroyed from within. If the constitutional rights we once held sacred are used against its citizens, and more specifically, the veterans who took an oath to protect our country, what is left? Chris has since been to trial and has been sentenced to 7 years in prison. Chris has never been in trouble in his life before the events of January 6th. It has been almost 4 months without him home. Where is the outcry for the families or women who have been left to provide for themselves? What do I tell the children in our family when they ask where Uncle Chris is? How do I console them when I'm too heartbroken, when I too am heartbroken? I'm not just hurting from his absence, but the hope that we will ever be free again. Our First Amendment is one of the most sacred rights in our country. If we are not free to speak our grievances and hold our officials accountable, what makes us better than any other country? What message does this deliver to the people? They have used this day to scare Americans into submission. He was not given a fair trial in D.C. The jury pool is tainted. Many jurors in these cases are being recycled, and every change of venue request has been denied. He was not allowed a constitutional defense. He was denied key witnesses in his case, and he was told he could not wear his Army medals in court. Yet the officers testifying against him were permitted in full decorum. The government sought unprecedented terror enhancements in his trial, to which he was sentenced to 2.5 more years than what the guidelines called for. He was called a liar for testifying on his behalf and claiming his innocence. There has been much progress in exposing the truth from that day, but it is an uphill battle. I want so badly to believe justice will be served, and I can one day find hope for healing in our country. We are appealing the case to the SCOTUS. The entire legal battle has left our family in financial ruin. Chris has been canceled from Citibank, Airbnb, and Chime Banking, shadow-banned from social media platforms, and he will need to seek government approval before applying for a line of credit when he comes home. This has destroyed our lives, and I'm left here praying God will show me where to go from here. By the time he gets home, I will probably have missed my window in hopes of being a mother. We will spend the rest of our lives trying to financially recover from this. I've tried my best to do what I can do to help, but I feel there are no coincidences, and this is the reason I feel called to write you today. I would love to speak more about Chris's story and how I believe you can help. We need grassroots efforts to help the truth be brought to light. We need financial assistance to have this case make it to appeals. We need accountability for the due process violations that have transpired. We need a true J6 committee, and we need to investigate the judges in D.C. We need to believe in the system again and not live in fear of a two-tiered system of justice. God bless you, Mr. Harris, and God bless America.
From Reuters, from Fox News at 5:06 p.m. today.
I love that. That always happens. I've had that happen. I was in a conference at somewhere. There was, a speaker up front, and my phone went off like that, and I was trying to get it to shut off, and didn't want to go. Anyway, again, that was from Chris Albert's fiance, and what a wonderful written letter. Pretty amazing.
So I wake up to that, Tom wakes up to that. As I'm working with somebody who does a lot more than I do. Oh, okay. So,
I thought we were done with the Swift boats in 2004.
What do you mean? But
Well, John Kerry was a
yeah,
veteran who served on a Swift boat,
right,
did all those dangerous things,
right, that's right.
and now we got a VP running mate for Camel Toe, who's almost making the exact same claims, and he's getting shredded even by CNN. It's awesome. It's just awesome.
I have seen a lot of veterans getting together and taking photos of them being not like, what's his name again?
Waltz,
Yeah, not Tim Waltz.
not Tim Waltz.
So people that actually deployed and served, and true patriots versus that fellow.
I think it's interesting, because the nature of what do you call that? It's I could be short and call it a lie, because it is in fact a lie, but it's a conflagration of words meant to deceive. And it's kind of out of the same cereal box. I mean, you had the Swift Boat guy back in 2004, which is a whole other discussion. Then you have this guy here effectively making the same claim, although his is land-based and not water-based, but it's still kind of the same sort of thing. And I noticed that those kinds of fanciful stories are coming from one side of the aisle.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
It's interesting how that works, isn't it?
You could read this, or you could read this. I just found it in my bag from Taylor Jonatakis.
Sure. I'm gonna check the air conditioning.
You got a John Takis?
It'll be, you don't want to read it?
No.
Oh, great. I just found this in my bag. It's dated May 27th, so I should have taken it out and put it away. But I'll read it since we have some time.
The air wasn't on.
It says,
So it was getting warmer.
I thought so. Go ahead, sorry.
I received your letter. Thank you so much. Work with the Northern Neck Patriots and all you guys have done. Never before has there been such a strong support for detainees and persons in America. I'm certain that the continuous voluntary effort to advocate for not only J6ers, but the treatment of all inmates and their conditions is surprising and perplexing to the system, which is accustomed to playing the role of
Benevolent. Despot.
Okay, I told you should have read this. And having unchallenged, unequivocal support for her subjects. It's the handwriting. That's why I type everything out. However, awaken in you and others like you in the true spirit of we the people. In all that me and my family have endured, okay, he's gonna read it.
In all that me and my family have endured as a result in my involvement of the fateful day is buffered only in the knowledge that it has raised awareness and shone a light on a system that is without mercy and without grace. We the people, in our individual capacity, are the solution. I totally agree with that. It's only when each individual makes the choice to do what is right, no matter the perceived consequence, will truth be brought forth and roll across the land. Truth is infectious and contagious. If spoken, if expressed, it is the store. Come on, Taylor.
He's not doing any better.
It is the stone cut from the. Wow. My tongue can't say that word. Huh.
I'm glad you got that one, not me.
Yeah.
Skip it.
It's cut without hands that will roll forth. Living our lives in accordance with the truth is happiness. It is the happiness mentioned in the Declaration of Independence, and our choice to pursue it is unalienable. Thank you so much for being an American committed. Oh, here we go. There's more. Committed to truth, to whatever path it takes you on. Just a few years ago, you probably didn't dream you would be a grassroots advocate for prison reform, yet here you are. May God bless you. I miss you, my brother. I missed my brother in D.C., and I miss my brothers and sisters in the D.C. Northern Neck Vigils. Being able to call in and share whatever message I had, and God, they were awesome. The guy is just great. And answer questions was an honor of a lifetime. My work continues, though, and much of the labor is in silence. I do it every day to take advantage of the opportunities to share my message of hope and personal accountability and individual choice. Coincidentally, to To save the prisoner, really, you must go into the prison. Oh no, I don't want to do that. This is another one that I don't think my tongue can say.
You need a thesaurus with them, huh?
Well, no, it's that not all the letters look like letters. Okay, I'll just skip that part. The opportunity to have so many Main Street Americans exposed to the justice system whose machinations churn slowly but grind finely, and a prison system which contractually obligates its inmates not to disparage the BOP while under its supervision. You cannot criticize your captor, thus creating a potential for silent suffering. Is something that over time will get in motion major reform over the course of time. One thing that surprised me was how the guards and the staff do not wear body cameras. There's a thought. Body cameras keep everyone safe and keeps both guards and inmates on their best behavior and honest about incidents and interactions between staff and inmates. This is awesome. We need to say, where's your body cameras down here?
Exactly.
I personally believe that legislature should immediately pass into law a requirement that all federal correction officers should wear body cameras. It is my belief that this will instantly improve interactions of staff with inmates. My family is doing well and enduring this challenge. My wife has listed our beautiful home for sale and is hoping to move down here closer to me in Missouri. As you can imagine, it is still a major financial struggle to carry on without me with the 5 kids. Still, the way he joins his letters together. Anyways, any chance you have to share on her GiveSendGo, which is givesendgo.com/Janatakis Family Help. It is greatly appreciated. Also, her website, thepeasantsperspective.com, is a good resource and has our story documented there. And I got to tell you, folks, that's absolutely true. I go there and everything in there is a good read, an absolutely wonderful read. Your help and dedication to our movement is always greatly appreciated. I love you for all you do. Tell the Northern Neck Patriots they are in my prayers and I miss them. Keep up the good work.
And that was
Taylor
Taylor
Janatakis.
Janatakis.
awesome.
Taylor Janatakis. Still crazy after all these years.
I did a quick search on the First Step Act. There was an article in March of 2023 entitled, this is Forbes, entitled, "The Bureau of Prisons Evolving Calculation of First Step Act." So that kind of tells you a little bit there, just even from that from over a year and a half ago. Anyway.
There's always a troublemaker in there.
So what do y'all think? You want to give it a few more minutes and then shut down early tonight?
Yes. Just so everybody knows, there's a little debacle going on with phone calls. So we're going to give it a little bit of time. And if nobody calls in here shortly, we're probably going to just wrap it up and go home because there's some storms outside. Anyhow, just thought everybody should know.
Did you get any comments on the live stream about the first effect? I saw there were some long comments in there.
There are, and you don't wanna know about them. If I could kick them, I would. Oh, that's something we can talk about later, after we're off air.
Dominic Box had done a letter to President Trump. Did we read that last time?
Yes,
Okay.
we're gonna,
We did.
we're gonna see whether we can put it in the Sentinel, John Haynes.
I'm saying, I thought, well, it was in my notes from last vigil that's, so I'm not sure how I would have read it.
Where's my stuff?
Well, let me ask you if it looks like this.
Yeah, somehow or other.
Do we read it?
We did. No, wait, that's Taylor John Truckus. That was Taylor that I read, and Maurice goes, I wish you would have sounded like Taylor.
Yep,
I gotta start,
you gotta put on your Taylor.
I don't remember what his voice sounds like, to be honest with you. But I couldn't.
He's got a lot of videos up on Rumble, you can check it out.
So Rowan, Dominic Box.
That's the one I'm talking about, Dominic Fox.
Looking for the email that, by the way, I just got a copy of the filing for the fight voter fraud that, from the guy that Chris sent. He replied to you.
I saw he replied, but I didn't look at what he sent. Yeah,
It's
that's
the,
cool.
the filing.
So
Pretty
go,
awesome.
go on Give, Send, Go.
Yeah, okay, we'll do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I know, he's
Let's
gonna do
do it.
it. Go on Give, Send, Go. Freedom, J6. Well, J6 Freedom.
Look, it's the first thing that comes up because I've already been there.
You scroll down. It's right there. Click on Read More. And you can read it.
Yes, we read this.
Read it again.
But on the vigil, or did we read it?
We
or
read
something?
this on the vigil.
Okay. It's fine.
All right, I want to give a shout out to Anderson Elevator Drilling. That's a veteran-owned company. My pal Jim, he tunes in a lot, and so oftentimes will comment, but he said he's not going to log into YouTube so he can comment because he doesn't want to do that. But if you need an elevator drilled out, this is the guy to do it. It's amazing what he does. Jim, shout out to you, buddy.
That's, I think I need an elevator, no?
It's a pretty interesting business model, actually. So what he's doing is he's going into these buildings that are 30 years old that the elevators have worn out. Sometimes the elevator cylinder is dysfunctional or is leaking or something like that. And he sets up this amazing drilling equipment where he comes in and it's a giant, drilling rig that drills down around the existing elevator casing. He's doing all this work inside the elevator shaft. He's got all this high-tech and heavy equipment, air compressors and pumps and all kinds of crap. Rigging, it's just like amazing work that he's doing. And he drills down, 30, 40 feet through concrete, through rock, through dirt, through everything, Jim. And if you could tell it, I'm sure you'd make it a lot more compelling. But and then he pulls all that old stuff out and puts a new sleeve in and tightens it up and leaves, and then the elevator company can come in and put a new mechanism in. But he saves these buildings because otherwise, so it's pretty cool business he's got going. Pretty neat work.
I think he should check out Mechanicsville Hospital, go into their elevators, and you feel like it's gonna fall from the third floor to the first. Everybody that goes in there for the first time, they're like shocked, and I'm like the same way as I had to go there like every
Day for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, and and it's scary. Get used to it after a while, but
Initially, it was a surprise, huh?
if he needs some work, just go in there, some maybe I could help you. I don't know what's wrong with that thing.
All right, well, I was texting people to see if they're getting calls, and I haven't heard from anybody.
Must be the weather.
Could be.
Oh, I left my phone over there.
Well, it's 8 o'clock. You guys want to wrap it up tonight?
Yeah, I do.
Everybody, thanks for joining us, and as always, share this out, share these videos out with people, and thank you everyone for what you're doing for January Sixers and their families. We've got to continue it on and help keep their spirits up, and we will see the light of day. The truth will set us free, for sure. Thanks. Have a good night.